Well, as we get started, just find yourself in a comfortable place. You can be lying down, you can be sitting. Just make sure you're situated so that the position you're in isn't a distraction unto itself. So if you're laying down, and I was telling everyone before class, I've been having some dizzy spells sporadically. If I lay down, I get dizzy. Well, I'm not going to be relaxed. I'm going to be upset because I'm dizzy. But if you're uncomfortable sitting up, if your butt bothers you or you can't find a comfortable position for your legs, then you're going to be cranky. So just start in a place that for you is not a distraction, that your body feels very natural and that your head is not spinning and you're as comfortable as you can be right at this moment. And then when you get there, invite your awareness just to gently notice what's going on in your body without judgment, just noticing if there's any particular aspect of your body that may need a little extra attention, either doing a little less because it's being a little finicky, or if you feel particularly zesty, maybe you can move a little bit more efficiently, you can go in that direction. And then after you've had a chance to do a little assessment of what you're bringing to the mat today in your bones and in your muscles and your skin, close your eyes, dial out your senses, and bring your awareness to your breath and notice what's going on there. Does your breath feel calm? Or are you stuffy? That could be part of my dizziness problem. I am a little congested, which you might hear, more congested than usual. So if you're congested, your breath is not going to be moving on as clear a pathway as we would like. So just notice your breath without judgment, remain comfortable. And the next time you inhale, invite yourself to take a slightly longer breath. Excuse me. Well, hopefully you can edit that out. See, that might explain my dizziness too. So after you take that nice long inhale, just take a few regular breaths after that. So the longer breath that we're going to insert every few breaths is just to give yourself a little more time to notice your breath. This is a season that involves a lot of gift receiving and gift giving. And our breath is a gift that, like self-care, we don't always take advantage of the gift of our breath by occasionally noticing it. Now, we don't want to go around noticing our breath all the time. That would not be relaxing, but just notice how we can tweak our breath or just pay attention to our breath in a way that creates a beneficial effect, such as calming. So the next time you inhale, again, take a gentle inhale. Let it be maybe a little longer or a little smaller, a little slower. We're not trying to like suck in more air like a vacuum. And then as you exhale, just see if you can control the breath as it leaves and just let it come out nice and slow. And when that's complete, just breathe naturally. Let the breath take over to its natural rhythm. So you're not controlling it, you're not changing it, you're just experiencing it as you inhale and as you exhale. And as you experience that breath, you could notice some physical things. Again, like, is your nose stuffy? Is your throat congested? Or do you have a nice, clear and clean pathway for your breath? If you've chosen to lay down, I can't see everyone. If you chose to start lying down, use the floor underneath you or any prop underneath you or behind you to also get some more information about how your body is feeling and if there are any imbalances that you can detect. We're going to come down to the mat again, but for now, when you're ready, slowly come up to a seated position of your choice. You could sit cross-legged or not, whatever feels right. We're just going to start in a seat, and from there, we're going to do a few different things. And the first thing we do is just going to be a little opener for our chest And a little opener for our back, a simple arm movement. Crisscross your arms in front of you, a light cross. Rest the hands on your chest, but don't push your chest down. Sit nice and tall. And as you inhale, open your arms, right angles, part of the way. And as you exhale, just bring the arms crisscross across your chest once again. And just synchronize this movement to your breath and see if as you open your arms, you can start inching them back a little bit more to get a little more opening in your chest area. The closing of the arms is going to stay about the same. We're not trying to make that a little tighter, but we're trying to see if we could free up our shoulder joints and kind of lubricate them a little bit with movement so that we could go a little wider with the arms, but don't go past any point of resistance. The next time your arms are in an open position, pause there and notice your front body. So with our arms in this position, we're opening, in a sense, the gates of our front garden. Our shoulder blades, the gates of our backyard, are kind of going a little bit toward each other. So without force, take a breath and be aware of how that breath gently expands or how you sense that breath in the front of your chest. Inhale and exhale. And then when you're ready, wrap your arms around you again. So it's a pretty tight crisscross. So now you've closed your front yard gates, but the backyard, your upper back is quite broad. The shoulder blades are moving away from the spine, creating, you got it, more space. So drop your awareness, a nugget of your awareness in your upper back. And the next time you inhale, take a slightly deeper or slower breath. Just kind of be present in that breath. Inhale, notice how you might detect space in your upper back. Or if you're super tight and you feel resistance in your upper back, that can happen as well. Exhale and release that breath. Good. And then continue with the movement just a few more times. Inhale, open the arms, and exhale, wrap the arms. And let's add a few more pieces. As you inhale and open the arms, you could open your throat a little bit by tipping your chin up a fraction. And whenever you exhale, when you wrap your arms, you can keep your chest lifted, but drop your chin down slightly to get a little stretch in the back of the neck. So you're opening that area as well. And just one or two more times at your own pace, inhaling, those right angle arms open, not trying to pull them far back. And one more time, the next time you take the arms apart, pause there, bring your awareness to your chest, the open front garden, and take a slightly bigger breath there. Inhale, notice if you feel the chest rise. And then exhale, crisscross the arms, remain with the arms crisscrossed, and take not a forced, but a boisterous, no, not boisterous, that sounds forced, doesn't it? Take a joyful breath into your upper back and find spaciousness through the pathway of your breath. And then release your arms all together. Take your legs out straight. Some of you may have had your legs out straight to begin with, but I was cross-legged and I forgot to remind myself to change my seat about halfway. So just move your legs around randomly. So you may want to roll your legs out and in, like so. You may want to do one leg at a time, so you'll notice more if there's any stiffness or resistance there. You could circle both ankles together, or you could circle one at a time, again, to dial your awareness a little bit more. Sometimes when we're doing both legs or both feet, we kind of miss something that we notice more if we're doing just one. And then you could flipper your feet, flex and extend on one, extend the toes on one, and extend the top of the foot and flex the ankle on another. It's like playing pinball. Good. And then when you're ready, bend your knees and come to tabletop position. If you need a blanket to cushion your knees, get that in place. And also have handy, if you have them, 2 blocks or 2 same-sized books and put them toward the front end of your mat. We're going to do cat-cow variations. And I'm sure you all know how to do the traditional cat-cow. And you can definitely just start right in with that when you're ready. I'll give you a modification of the cat part of the cat-cow. So the cow is your back bend, And as you inhale, you lengthen your spine from crown to tail. And on the traditional cat, as you know, you round and you draw your forehead toward your pubic bone as much as you can. And then you inhale and open up into the back bend again. But you can also create the forward bend by, as you exhale, dragging your hips back to your heels and either elevating your fingers, elevating your hands onto your fingertips, or placing your hands on blocks and sliding your hips back to your heels. It's still a forward bend. And we're also getting nice length between our armpits and our hips. So we're lengthening the side. Inhale, come back to the back bend, nice, gentle back bend. Exhale, come to your usual cat or this variation. Sometimes this variation is called Chakravakasana. The yoga teacher, Gary Kraftsau, who's quite noted, that's what he called it. The next time you come to the back bend part, stay there, keep breathing, don't stop after the inhale. Make sure your belly is not pouring out of you. We don't want to have it like super tight sucked in, but we want a little softness there in the belly. At the same time, we want to make sure that our belly isn't so soft that it's overarching the low back. From here, turn your head slightly to look toward your right and draw your right hip a little bit toward your right armpit. So you're shortening your right side a fraction, but you're lengthening the other side. And then come back to center. Inhale here and exhale here. Inhale again, come into that small back bend, or you could stay in neutral spine, turn your head to look to the left, and curl your left hip toward your left armpit. It's a very subtle move. You're not leaning, and you might get a little more length in your right side. Bring your hips back to center. As you exhale, come back to hips to the heels. Even if you were doing the regular cat, come back to hips to the heels now. Take your knees wide, bring your big toes together, elevate your hands on blocks or elevate your hands by coming onto your fingertips. And lengthen the back of your neck. Sometimes my head is up because I take periodic looks at the screen, but we don't want to be like this. We want to have our neck nice and long. But don't come into a child's pose just yet. In child's pose, we surrender our weight completely down. So keep your hips hovering, your spine long, creepy crawl your fingertips forward. So you want to feel some sense of lengthening, some sense of stretching, maybe in your upper back, maybe in your arms. And also by resisting letting your bum come all the way down, whatever all the way down is for your bum, we're also working in the hips and in the butt. You might feel a little shakiness. So the thighs are working. Try and squeeze your butt, even as you don't let it come down. Keep that breath flowing. Maybe stretch your hips back a little bit more. Notice if any muscles in your thighs are being activated in some way. And then if you like, just come to full-on child's pose. Take your knees as wide as you like. Take some padding underneath your head. Take your arms comfortable by your side, or you can also rest your head on your arms. I'm just going to use this wadded up beach towel here. Oh, that feels good. So you're going to let your butt surrender completely here. So your butt still might not be on your heels or your legs, but you're not trying to hold it up. And you're also making sure that you're not bending your knees anymore than feels right for your knees. Now that we're not on our belly, but now that we're belly down, bring your awareness to your back body here. And as you inhale, take a comfortable, long breath into your upper back and just notice what sensations do you feel, that you feel that your back is expanding. That's because it is. And every time we inhale, our whole container of our chest expands in both shape and volume. And as you exhale, when exhale comes around, you might feel a little softening. Do that again. Direct your awareness to your upper back, right between your shoulder blades or around the shoulder blades, and take a nice, comfortable inhale. Breathe your shoulder blades wide. And then when you're ready, come back to table. So if you were folded in child's pose, your legs might be a little cranky because they were squished. So come back to table, tuck the toes of your right foot under, get a really good tuck, and press your feet down. You'll get a little toe burn on your mat. Extend your right leg long. If you like, you could add your left arm and reach it forward so that you're not only stretching, but that you're using a little bit of core work to remain stable here. It's also, good for balance. It's good for a number of things. And then place the hand down and switch legs. Remember, you can just stretch out the legs. Toe tucked, extend the leg back, and if you like, add the opposite arm. Keep the back of the neck long. Resist dropping your head down or lifting your head up because we want to be nice to our necks. Keep your core engaged. Press the shin of the bent leg down. And when you're ready, bring that hand back and bring that knee down. If you'd like to do 1 or 2 downward dogs tonight, this would be a good place to do down dog. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it with you because, as I said, some of you were not here from the beginning. I've been having some dizzy issues. I'm a little dizzy, so I don't want to have my head down. But if you'd like to do a down dog now, I'll start you off. If not, you can continue doing the table balances with me in a moment. So down doggers, you would tuck your toes deeply, inhale, and as you exhale, you would start lifting up and you would come up all the way. And not what I'm doing today, and let your head lengthen down. And you can stay there for a few breaths and then come down and join us again on the mat. If you're still on the mat, you can tuck the toes under, reach the leg back, find your stability here. And then if you like, raise that leg up a few inches. If this bothers your back, bring it down right away. Think of lifting from the inner upper thigh. And if you like, you can add the balance challenge here too. This also gives you length, possibly stretch between, in this case, your right hip and your left armpit chest, and also in the back, across your back on that same diagonal. And then release down. And if you did that, roll your wrists around a little bit. If you did down dog, you might want to be rolling your wrists around a little bit. And let's do one more side on the stretchy, balancy thingamajiggy. So extend the left leg back, keep that. Now, if you don't want to lift the leg, if that throws off your balance, you can do the balance challenge just like this, or you could lift your leg first. Find stability there. So don't raise your arm till you feel that you're pretty stable with the lifted leg, and then reach the fingertips in one direction and reach the heel of the opposite foot in the other direction. Take a few breaths here. And then when you're ready, release. Come to any comfortable seat. If you decide for a moment to sit like I am, I'm sitting on my shins. Sometimes when I do this, I used to not be able to do it at all. But sometimes when I do this, I'm more comfortable with a little padding kind of tucked into the knee spaces. So just come to a comfortable seat for a moment. One advantage, so this is a holiday secret, and this is what I was taught, and I believe it. One advantage to sitting like this, we don't generally want to do yoga after we've eaten a big meal. So that means we can't do yoga in the holidays, right? Because we want to eat big meals all the time. But this is a post-meal pose that I read is considered good for digestion because we're kind of literally cutting off a little bit of the blood supply in the legs. And I've read that that helps to bring more energy into your belly and helps you digest more efficiently. This is also a really good stretch for the tops of your legs, your quads, and it's a good stretch for the tops of your feet. However, I know that it can be torture. Another thing you could do, if you're not tortured enough, I'm going to show you this from the side. Tuck your toes of both feet, okay? Start in table. If you like padding in the other pose, you might want it here. And then from here, walk your hands back to your knees and see if you can put some weight on your legs here, but be very, very careful about this because this is going to really open up the soles of your feet and it's really going to give a lot of a little bit of a boost to the joints of the toes, but you don't want to go overboard with it and try and sit as tall as you can. You can also do this with standing on your knees with the toes tucked. And then finally, untuck your toes. And they might feel nice and extra spacious after all of that. So from here, instead of doing a restorative pose all the way at the end, we're going to do a restorative pose now. We're going to do a restorative back bend. And you definitely need, at the very least, a few blankets for this. If you have a bolster, I see I don't have mine right here in the frame, but if you have a bolster, that's helpful. But the main way to set up this pose is with yoga blankets or towels. So since this one is folded the neatest, you're going to start with one blanket. So say you have a blanket folded into a rectangle about this size. You're going to fold it long edge to long edge. So what the blanket or towel should look like, it should be slightly narrower than the width of your shoulders. So if you're very narrow, I'm pretty broad. If you're pretty narrow, if you're using a towel, you might towel might be better because it's less thick. So you're just going to have one folded blanket or towel, and you're going to place that on your mat, and whatever end of the mat your head's going to be. So I would set it up so that the head is here. You're going to leave about 8 inches at the head end of the mat and a little more space at the foot end of your mat. When we come into the pose, we're going to sit with our bum on the mat. We're going to lengthen our spine and our head on top of this blanket. That works fine if you're about 5'2" or a little bit taller. That's my height. But if you're taller than that, your head's going to be flopping down, and we don't want that. So take another blanket or towel and just fold that up into a rectangular pillow shape so that when you join these two props together, they don't have to be the same. They don't have to be the same blanket or towel, but they should be the same thickness. So what happens is, for the taller folks, when you come down, your head will be captured comfortably by this. You might want to have another blanket or towel handy, because depending on your own personal preference, you might want to have your head elevated a little bit more. And since I've been having dizzy spells, I'm definitely going to have something handy for that. Then, if you have a bolster or a big pile of pillows handy, you're going to place that at the lower third of your mat. I'm going to just I'm going to simulate a bolster by taking 2 blocks side by side and putting these beautiful, colorful beach towels on top of it. That's my bolster for today. And then when you're ready to come into the pose, you're going to loop your legs over a bolster if you have one. If you don't have a bolster, when you come into this pose and when you're in this pose, keep your knees bent and your feet on the floor. It gets a little iffy to do this pose with straight legs. I'll try and remember to tell you why. You sit pretty close to that blanket, and then using your palms flat to the mat, you're going to ease yourself down. You're going to ease yourself down. There we go. As you can see, my head does not even need the top blanket, but I'm going to use it today so I could be a little higher to avoid being dizzy, and also it helps project my voice when I'm teaching than being flat. So a couple of things here. You want to be comfortable. No pose, even if it has the label of restorative, is going to restore anything if you're miserable. So you want to make sure, first of all, that your head is comfortable. If your head's not comfortable, nothing will be. You don't want your head dropping down. It shouldn't be lower than your chest. It could be even with your chest, or for comfort, or as a dizziness antidote, it could be a little higher, okay? Step one. Low back, your lumbar spine, your low back curve, most of it is actually on the blanket. It just kind of, the low part of the blanket, you can't really see unless you're sitting right next to me here, but my tush is on the mat, but my low back curve is kind of curving off the edge of this blanket. If you feel that you have a super exaggerated arch in your low back, bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, come out of the pose, and add another blanket underneath your hips, because we want to make sure that this posture does not make our low back curve any bigger than it is. We want our low back curve to be neutral, our head comfortable, our legs comfortable, and then when you have all those pieces, take your arms by your side with the palms up and close your eyes. This is a very subtle, simple restorative back bend. And the main thing it does, like the back bend we do in cat-cow, and like the back bend we do if we're doing a yoga cobra, it grants the gift of openness to the chest, which is a really nice gift because when we're tense, we're closed. When we're working over our desk, we're closed. When we're brushing our teeth at the sink, guess what? We're in a forward bend, we're rounded and we're closed. So this is a great antidote to the forward tendencies we all have when we're doing our daily activities. It's great for the posture. You can always alter the pose at any time by adding more height under your hips. If you feel you're not getting that much of a back bend, you can double up the vertical blanket underneath your spine. But you want to make sure you're not feeling anything extreme. You don't want to feel like you're really stretching anything. You just want to feel this openness. So I'm going to stay here in the pose for a few minutes. I invite you to stay in the pose with me. But remember, if your back starts to bother you and the pose just isn't working for you, here's your exit strategy. Remember it. You bend your knees, you roll over to your side, and you rest on your side. And then you can rest there, continue to rest there, or you can come back to lying on your back, but without the props underneath you. So you get a little mid-class shavasana. But a few things to do in this back bend, and you can do it even if the back bend doesn't work for you. And if you're lying down on your side, or if you're lying down without the props, you could do this along with me as well. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Make sure your body is as calm and still as it can comfortably be. Bring your awareness to the front of your chest. If you like, you could place a hand there just to use a sense of touch to use to explore, but you don't have to. With your awareness in your upper chest, the next time you inhale, take a slightly longer or slower inhale. You may feel as you inhale that the chest expands. And as you exhale, even though the breath is leaving, fill the space of your chest with a gift. Then take a few breaths. We'll do that again. What kind of gift? I don't think a physical thing would work too much, like imagining you have like a jewel or something dropped in there. But a gift, what do we need this time of year? Calmness. I would like that one. You could give yourself a little nugget of calmness or a little nugget of confidence, of love, or of peace. So you could think of a quality like that, and you just kind of tuck it inside and imagine that it does its thing for you, so that even if you're getting stressed, you could remind yourself, but wait, I have that calmness gift inside my chest. Ooh, I have to tap into that. Let's do that one more time for our upper chest. As you inhale, take a gently extended breath in. Inhale. Feel the subtle increase of the space with the inhale. And as you exhale, volume-wise, that space will diminish, but you could tuck something in, a gift to yourself this holiday season, into your chest that you can keep and remind yourself that you have. And then take just a few more breaths here. Bring your awareness to your sides, above your waistline. So we want to explore that expanding lung energy again. You can bring your fingertips or the backs of your hands to your side ribs if you like to get a sense of touch. And the next time you inhale, invite your inhale to gently extend. Inhale, let that breath creating space. It fills the space. But as the breath leaves, you can leave something in that space. Yes, another gift for yourself, something that could be useful, especially this time of year. And then take a few more breaths here, breathing in and out. You could focus your awareness on the movement in your sides if you like. And remember that when the breath leaves, something yummy is left behind in the space that your inhale created. Take a few more breaths here, just resting quietly or just maybe meditating on the deliciousness of the gifts you gave yourself, because we know what we want to get, right? We know what's on our gift list. You put calmness on your gift list. I don't know. How is someone going to get that and box that up for you? That would be tough. But we can give it to ourselves. In a moment, we're going to come out. Some of you may have come out already, but it can be comfortable to stay here, but we're going to move on. So to release from the pose, your first stop, if you remember the exit strategy, was to bend your knees and anchor your feet to the floor. And then you're going to shift to either side you like. Before you do, make sure you have enough padding under your head so that when you end up on your side, your head isn't tipping down and you're not crunching that side of your neck. So you could roll off the long blanket, or you could kind of roll on top of it, but just make sure you have a blanket handy and you stuff it under the bottom side of your head. Bend your knees and just rest on your side. Now we visited in the pose the chest and the sides. Here, just lying on our side, we're going to visit the back because we're not laying on it. So we're going to be more free to feel the expansion of the breath there. So bring your awareness to your upper back. And the next time you inhale, breathe gently, notice the space, fill the space with your breath. And one last time, as you exhale, as the breath leaves, fill that space that the breath vacates with yet another gift for yourself. And if you're not sure what gift you'd like to give, you could just give yourself something general, just like a feeling of yumminess, a feeling of self-acceptance. If you have something that really makes you smile, like, I don't know, my cat, you can take an idea, like the idea of the love you feel from a cat or a dog, or the peace you feel just by looking at a tree. You can bring that as a gift into the space of your heart, the space we created in the sides, and the space we create in the back. So hopefully you have at least one gift tucked inside of you, or maybe three, that you can keep long after class ends. When you're ready, slowly lift yourself up. You can support yourself with your hands and just sit up in a normal position that is comfortable. You can take padding underneath your bum. If you like, you can sit with your legs in any way that you like, including, if it wasn't torture for you, you can come back to diamond pose, and you can tuck the blanket underneath your legs and sit tall, but feel free to come to any comfortable position. We're going to take a twist here because it's always nice after a back bend to do a little bit of a twist, okay? So we're going to twist to your right, and depending on how you're sitting, you might be in a slight different angle than I am. But draw your hands to your heart center. If you like to set up your arms before the twist, take your right arm behind you and take your left hand on the side you're turning to, your right leg. But you can also twist first and add the arms later. That helps to guarantee that you're not pulling yourself into the twist with your arms. As you inhale, find the length from tail to the crown of your head. As you exhale, slowly revolve your shoulder girdle to your right, and then release your arms to wherever they land. If you're sitting up like I am, you might want to have a block or a blanket behind you to rest your hand on, because my arm isn't long enough to reach the floor. No matter what way you're sitting, make sure that your hips are even. As you're turning to the right, we're twisting toward the right, make sure you're not leaning more on that right hip. The same time, you might notice that the opposite hip tensed up or lifted up. Take a few breaths here. You can breathe into that front garden and the back, the backyard and the sides, or you can just breathe while just being in this twist. Just helps to, as we revolve that spine and we move the joints, whenever we're moving joints around, we help to lubricate them. And even though we sit a lot during the day, we don't twist a lot during the day. As you inhale, lengthen your spine, lift your arms up, come back to center. If you don't like the seat you were in before you do the twist on your other side, change it. If you're sitting cross-legged, put the other leg in front. If you were sitting like this and you hated it, come to cross-legged for the second side, your left. And again, you could set yourself your arms up, one leg on the opposite thigh, one arm behind you. I think I said one leg, one arm behind you, one on the opposite thigh. Or you could start nice and tall with your hands at your heart center. If you like, steeple your hands. Inhale, raise your arms up and take a small twist of your shoulder girdle to your left. And then when you get there, release your arms to support the twist. One behind you, the other traditionally on the opposite leg. Sometimes I like to keep it on the same side leg. That helps me to feel a little more open in the chest. So you might want to try that too. Take a few breaths here. Easy inhale, smooth exhale. Two more breaths in the twist on the second side. One more breath in the twist on the second side. And then when you unwind the twist, again, you could bring your arms up and then release down. If you were sitting in this position, you totally need to stretch out the backs of your legs. And even if you weren't in this position, you may want to open up the backs of the legs. So you can come to down dog. Feel free to come to down dog if you like, if that works for you. If you're not interested in down dog or just don't feel like doing it for whatever reason, feel free just to do what we did in the beginning of class. Tuck the toes of one foot under, I'm going to use my right, and stretch that leg back. Oh, that feels so good. That feels so good. Make sure you're not overdoing it. You don't want to feel that you're pulling or tugging in the back of your knee, but you want to feel like the leg is nice and long. And if you were sitting in diamond, sitting on your shins, you're going to feel the circulation coming back to your leg. If you like, not only take the leg up if that works, but circle your ankle here a few times. Get the circulation back into your toe tips. And then switch sides. Extend your left leg, tuck the toes. You can stay right here, or you can lift the leg. You can stay right here, or you can lift the leg and move your foot around. Make sure you're not overstretching. Make sure as you draw your leg back, you're not pulling your hip back with it. You want your hips to be even from right to left, even laterally. And again, you can still come to down dog if you like. I just can't do it with you this evening. And then when you're ready, just come to a comfortable seat. Before we come to Shavasana, let's do a supported forward bend. Okie doke. So we did child's pose in the beginning of class. So we could do a variation of a different forward bend. So whenever you're sitting on the mat in class, feel free to take padding underneath your bum to help you sit tall. We're going to fold forward toward our legs, but take whatever props you have, anything, a couch cushion, a bunch of pillows, a bunch of towels, add a pet in there, and just make a big pile of props and place it on your thighs, place it on your lap. You might find that you might not have enough, depending on your flexibility and how you're feeling, you might not have quite the right props, but just give it a shot. And then from here, they don't want to be right next to your belly because that's going to jam you in. But you're going to have your props just laying on your legs. And then when you're ready, inhale, steeple your arms, lift nice and tall. Is that Buddy Joe the doggy I see coming in? Feel free to use him as a prop, Joanne. As you exhale, fold forward and just allow yourself to kind of soften and surrender to the pile of props underneath you. You want to try and keep your spine long, not so rounded and scrunched. So you want to feel, I don't know if you can see, I might make props invisible. I'm kind of like this. So I'm not curling the front of my rib cage very much. The pile of props can use some blocks, your shoes. The pile of props helps keep that area open. And you could stay lifted. You can keep your head lifted, or if you're comfortable, you can just drop your chin down. You might find if you're short, your feet are there. You could take big toe hold if you like. You could be more rounded if you like that. You could be longer in the front if you like that. Take a few breaths here. Forward bends are also good openers for the back. So if you like, bring your awareness to your upper back. Take a gentle but extended inhale. And as you exhale and the breath leaves, do you remember what gift you put in there? Do you like it? Maybe you want to exchange it. Put a different gift in the space of your back, vacated by your breath. So many gifts, and they're all free. Earlier today when I was doing this, I chose one of my cats who's the most tentative with my husband and I, was a little extra loving. She's been that way, a little extra attentive to me the past week or so. So she's being extra snuggly, and she's the smallest of the cats. So I actually gave her as my gift earlier today. I kind of tucked the idea of her and her closeness and her warmth. So you can that's something I mentioned before. It could be an idea, it could be a quality or an idea of something, or even someone who is always a gift to you. And then when you're ready, slowly come out of your forward bend. I didn't really want to come out. We're almost in Shavasana time, but I thought it would be nice maybe just to do a few little quick stretches on the mat before we come to Shavasana. So gather whatever you would like to have for deep relaxation, as many props as you want underneath your head, a blanket to cover you. If you need a sip of water, now's a good time to take that. Have everything handy that you need, and then come to lying down. If you look at the screen, and you don't have to, you might see that I have a ton of props under my head. This is not something I recommend. It's not comfortable, but I just want to make sure that I don't start getting dizzy, because that would be kind of a drag. I might confuse you if I flub my lines while I'm dizzy. Yeah, some people lay like this normally. It's very uncomfortable. It's very bad for your neck. So come to lying down as flat as you can and take just enough padding under your head that you need for comfort. And bend your knees. Yes, we have time. If you want to come to Shavasana, by the way, and have a super long Shavasana, feel free to do that now. Otherwise, we'll just add a few stretches here that could be nice. So first, pick up your right leg, your right bent leg, and draw the leg comfortably close for you. You don't want to jam your knee. If your knee doesn't have a lot of flexibility, you could keep it in a right angle. But if the heel just kind of plops down naturally, let your heel soften to the back of your leg. You can hold on to the leg, thigh, or shin, or not hold on at all if it just stays there. And just inhale. And as you exhale, imagine that thigh. You don't have to pull it, but let it surrender to gravity. You don't even have to pull it closer. Just ask it nicely to surrender to gravity. And that will actually compress you in front a little bit, which you might not like, but it's actually good because it's like a squeeze and soak. When we condense in, we give ourselves a little squeeze. And then when we release the thigh away, as we're going to do now, take it arm's distance away from you, then we open up that space. So everything that we squeezed in gets to come out. The fluid exchanges. And then again, snuggle the leg in toward you. Don't force it in. Another thing that works here, I took most of my blankets here. If you feel like your thigh is miles away from you, you can fill the space literally with a blanket. So let's say your thigh only comes to here. You could take a blanket here so you can get a little compression in the front of the belly by just the thigh coming in and pressing into this little extra added prop that you use here as filler. Take a breath here, condensed on your right side, and then slowly extend your leg out in front of you, not horizontal, not on the floor. So stretch it out long and low, as straight as you can. And then if you like, bring the leg upward, keep it straight. I didn't say to have a strap handy, I apologize, because I just threw this in. So you could use a strap on the leg or just let it, we're just going to be here for a moment. And just find a comfortable stretch for that leg. Draw your toes to your nose and take the heel to the ceiling or the heel to the wall if your leg is lower like this. And then when you're ready, bend the foot, bend the knee, place the foot down, draw your left leg in. So again, you can add maybe a thin layer of blanket or towel to create more compression. Let your lower leg relax. If you need to, you can have your leg at a right angle or more, if that is how your knee needs that. And as you exhale, you can draw the leg in, but mostly invite the leg to surrender. Imagine the thighs getting really soft. The thigh bone is pretty much, I think it's the longest bone in the body, probably not the heaviest, but definitely the longest. And let that big sturdy bone and all the muscles, lots of muscles, back, front, inner thigh, tons of muscles. Let all that groovy stuff surrender to gravity. Whatever you can let go in that leg, let it go. And you might feel a little smush. Sometimes you could almost feel it restricts your breath a little bit if the thigh is really pressed against you. But we want to squeeze, we want to soak and then let it go. So this is the soak. And then as you inhale, take your knee arm's distance away from you. So now you get the fill effect. So everything that you squeezed out, it moves around. On an exhale, repeat. Draw the leg in again. Condense a little more this time if that works, or condense a little less. Do what feels right for you. And then again, take the leg away from you. Now here, extend the leg out long and low. You can point the toes. Don't let it come too low, because then it's going to arch your back. Keep your pelvis slightly tucked. Extend your leg, have it as straight as you can without force. And then you can lift it up if you can lift it up, but don't take it. If you're super flexible, don't take the leg behind you for now, because we're winding things down. You just want to find a long leg, a nice spacious leg here, stretching and lengthening that leg out. Take another breath here, and then bend that knee and release that foot down. And now Shavasana, deep relaxation. If there's any other little movement in your personal practice that you like to do before deep relaxation, go ahead and add that in. Stretch or yawn or sigh, and then set your props. Hopefully they're pretty comfortable for that forward bend we just did and the leg stretches. But if you need to tweak your props, make your props as comfortable as they can be. And by the way, for Shavasana, you don't have to lie on your back. It's usually the most comfortable. You can do a side lying Shavasana, because I'm coming out of the pose, so I can sit up and talk to you more efficiently. But you could do Shavasana lying on your side as long as you're comfortable. If you do it on your side, you probably will want, grab one, here we go. You probably will want a prop in between the knees and the ankles, in between those areas. That usually feels more comfortable. And if you do side lying Shavasana, you need even more height under your head than usual, because you want to make sure that you don't shorten that bottom side of your neck. So just make sure you are totally as comfortable as you can, as warm as you can be, and lie down either on your back or on your side and close your eyes. Close your eyes. Let your body be as still as it can. And know, you don't have to remember the gifts. And if you don't remember them, don't worry about it. But just remember that you brought into your practice, that you're bringing into Shavasana, not only the gift of the practice that you just did in this lovely little community we have, even though we can't see each other or hear each other, we do have a little Zoom community here, thanks to the library. And we're coming into this in the privacy of our own homes, but yet still connected to the greater community outside of ourselves. And also deep within the privacy of the spaces that we explored with our breath, you also have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 entire gifts to take with you into Shavasana. So take those gifts, keep them nested, soften your body wherever you can. Surrender the weight of your head and all its thoughts to your mat. If you have a blanket or two under your head, to the blanket, to the pillow. And you could do that at night before you go to sleep too, especially if you're taking some stress to bed with you. Uh-oh, you definitely want to invite the head just to let go. Invite your thoughts to surrender. Imagine your forehead as smooth as satin, satin smooth, as if there never had been a worry there. And this is no disrespect to our worry lines. Those are signs that we've lived. But we don't want to come into a resting position like Shavasana. And later when we sleep, we don't want to come in wrinkly and frowny because that prevents us from relaxing. And it kind of irritates, can be irritating on the muscles. So soften that forehead. You can even take a hand and stroke it from side to side if it needs a little extra love or if you have any sinus congestion. Bring your awareness to your right shoulder and soften your right shoulder down away from your right ear and away from the left shoulder. Bring your awareness now to your left shoulder and invite that shoulder, maybe with an exhale, to release down. It might be release, but you might find that you were holding tension in the shoulders that you can actually let go. Sometimes tension is so embedded in us that we can't let it go. We eventually can, but we can't necessarily let it go with a command. But you might be surprised how much tension you have, and then you tell it to let go, and it's like, oops, that was tense. So we want our shoulders to release not only from our ears, because they tend to be up toward the ears, but from each other. So one shoulder might be able to soften down and surrender to gravity a little more than the other. Let it do so. Relax your rib cage down. Surrender the bowl of your hips, that beautiful bowl, and all the delicious fruit, so to speak, of your pelvic bowl, organs and tissues. Invite those to go as well. Soften your arms, the length of your arms down to your hands and fingers. And then surrender the weight and the strength of your legs, the upper legs and your bottom, with lots of really very intense muscle groupings. Invite those legs to get buttery soft. And then trail down to your lower legs there too. Invite the muscles that surround your lower leg bones, invite them to be soft and pliable, and let the bones of your lower leg just rest in the cushion of those muscles. And then bring your awareness to your right foot and invite your right foot to relax. Bring your awareness to your left foot and invite your left foot to relax. Let go wherever you can and surrender to the gift of stillness. If distractions arise, imagine that you could just blow them away like a dandelion. Blow those little annoying things away with a little puff of your breath. You carved out this time for your practice. Enjoy, nest in your Shavasana to the fullest. If you notice any tightness creeping in or any distracting thoughts arising, see if you can invite those to go away too. Keep coming back to what helps you to relax. Keep coming back to a place of comfort. A soft jaw, a relaxed mouth, soft, mushy muscles. Quiet, calm limbs. And a peaceful, still mind. In just a moment, we'll use the pathway of our breath to bring ourselves out of Shavasana. Remembering that if you don't want to come out of Shavasana, you could just stay right where you are. But if you like to start coming out, bring your awareness to your upper chest. And as you inhale, slide a generous breath in. And then exhale. And do you remember if you left a little gift in the spaciousness vacated by your breath in your chest? If you don't want that gift, feel free to exchange it. Exchanges are free. Or feel free to put a different gift in there, or put a gift in there if you didn't before. The gift of peace, of stillness, of calm. Explore your body's gifts. The imaginary ones we tucked inside during practice, as well as the gifts of your body. Stretch it, yawn, claw the air, do something silly. And when you're ready, take your silly gift of a body and ease over to either side. And then from there, again, stay there, why not? Or if you like, come up to a comfortable seated position. That's the way we traditionally close our yoga practices, but doesn't mean you have to do it. Keep your gaze within and your thoughts calm. If you like, join your hands together and draw your hands to your heart center. Lift the chest to your hands, but bow your head slightly down. Thank this moment. Thank yourself. Thank whoever and whatever makes you grateful. And take this thanks and gratitude with you as you go throughout the busy weeks ahead. Namaste.